Welcome to another episode, Churrasco Voltorv Gaming. Time for a little bit of fighting games. Some fighter's history, to be exact. Released in 1994 by the Data East Corporation. In 93 in arcades. So awesome, it was brought to your home consoles the year next after. So, this is something kind of special for you guys. Has a little bit of controversy lined up in this game. First, let's do the setup. Basic stuff. The game level is on easy, and trust me, it needs to be on easy. No time limit. Well, time limit will be on. Normal speed and stereo. Sounds good to me. So, a theme that will come apparent in this. This is a total ripoff of Street Fighter 2. A ripoff of the very popular fighting game that kickstarted fighting games in general. You could make an argument to that. Let's start. Let's check this game out and see what I'm talking about. Look at this select screen. Oh my god. Let's go through this. You got Ray, your angsty American guy that is actually kind of similar to Ken, or maybe even Guile. Fei Lin, I think, who's a Chun-Li ripoff. This little judo girl, which Ryoko, who I don't really know of comparison to, but we will be using her because she's really good. Matlock, who's a British punk fighter. Not much to say about that. Sam Che, who's your Sagat ripoff. Lee, generic guy who is not a Ryu ripoff at all, because Misaguchi here is totally our Ryu ripoff, complete with Hadoukens. Jean, our French fighter, who is kind of a Gala ripoff in his moves. And Mastorius, who apart from having poor dental hygiene, is kind of a ripoff for Zangief as the massive wrestler type. Anyways, you can see where similarities are starting up here. Let's start some gameplay and see what's going on. Nice voice acting, I will give it that. So let's start, as always, when we do our reviews, with graphics, presentation, and sound. Round one, fight. Right off the bat, you can see that this decent amount of effort has been put into the backgrounds, animations in the back. All the people are cheering the fight on, as anyone would in Thailand if a fight started up on some kind of barge town. So pretty realistic so far. The sound, I'll be honest, because I've already had a few playthroughs of this before starting recording, is nothing to really write home about. No tunes come to mind, except if we make it to Misaguchi's stage, you will see where the plagiarism kind of continues. But anyways, as far as the graphics go, the animations are just fine. Your sound is forgettable, but there. Backgrounds are completely serviceable. Nice little details on the sprites, honestly. Nothing to really complain about. So, let's move on to the gameplay here. Gameplay is your standard 6-button affair with medium, weak, and strong hits. So, nothing has really changed from the formula. You know, nice little presentation touches that each time your character wins a round, obviously they strike their winning pose, and then they do a second winning pose. Now you need a cane, Pops! Complete with burns and burn lines for your winning a bout, which, much like Street Fighter 2, is a ripoff. Even the versus screen here is kind of a rip. Here we go, Misaguchi. Listen closely. Listen closely. When it starts, the music in a stage. I got definitely strong Street Fighter 2 Ryu stage vibes here. Oh yeah, big time. But anyways, now that we look, complete with exploding drums and exploding pieces in the background, courtesy of my explosive judo throws. That is also a staple in many a Street Fighter 2 stage, as you all know. Now, also you can see the special moves are also quarter circle forwards, quarter circle backs, hold back a certain amount of time and then forward, like this little rolling move I use with her. Really solid stuff. It controls actually really well, really responsive. You see, he just threw his Hadouken version right there, and totally missed because he's a punk. But you have your complete score system just like in Street Fighter 2. Even your life bars are the same, with the yellow for health and red as you get damaged. And we continue in round 2 against Misaguchi here. And just like in Street Fighter 2, they have very dedicated workers who have already replaced that drum after it being destroyed by the might of... Oh, there it goes again. They'll have to replace it again. A fun little gameplay quirk that is in this game that makes it kind of try to stand out from the crowd is the weak point system. Better luck next time, Misaguchi, says Tiny Judo Girl. Anyways, like I was saying, the weak point system. Oh, here we go. This guy gives me a run for my money. You know, something that you get in Churrasco Volturb channel that you don't get in a lot of channels is, since I have very terrible editing abilities, I'm kind of playing as the game goes on, so my commentary has to kind of fit what's on screen, which is kind of like a no-script entertainment that you can only get on this channel, or other channels with under 10 subscribers. Anyways, like I was saying, the weak point system. To stand out from the crowd, what Data East did here with this game was they incorporated the weak point system, which means that there are certain parts on every fighter's body when they're hit, a garment will start flashing, which means that you're about to break that garment off. Now, this is not some kind of weird striptease Super Nintendo game that came out in '94. That would be unheard of. This is actually just something like this guy's shin guards, I believe, pop off. And once the shin guards pop off, he will become dazed. After you get him out of the dazed state, they flash there once if you saw it, if you watched closely. After they come out of the dazed state, they will... they're flashed again. They will take subsequently more damage to that body part if you hit the... There he goes. He's dazed. We're not going to give him a chance, though, to get hit again, maybe. But if you were to get hit in the shins again, it causes a lot more damage than it normally would have, because that garment obviously was protecting his weak point. So I can appreciate stuff like that. The only downer is really, in my opinion, the life bars in the matches don't last long enough for this to really make much of a difference. But anyways, I digress. The controls are decent. The characters are very, if I would say, a little bit boring, though. There's nothing really too inspired. Street Fighter 2, you got your Blanca, you know, you got your chubby sumo practitioner, and some very cool dudes with lots of tood like Guile. This game doesn't really have that. Doesn't have a lot of that nostalgic character sticking with it. And I find it to be a great deal harder than Street Fighter 2 and any of its variations. This may also be because, obviously, I don't have as much nostalgia for this game as the others. I have played Street Fighter 2 more times than I can count. This game I've only beaten a handful of times, with only a couple of characters. So the nuances of the characters and the way they control have not really stuck with me. But it's still a fun game. You know, I enjoy it for what it is. If you were looking for a Street Fighter 2 ripoff or a clone, you can do a lot worse than this. She says Donald Duck when she launches that attack. Donald Duck! But anyways, so let's move on to the really fun part about this game. You see the similarities here of how this is kind of like Street Fighter 2. Would you know, or maybe you already knew, but this game was the subject of a copyright infringement lawsuit brought upon by Capcom towards Data East. Basically saying, hey man, you guys totally ripped off a game and we don't really appreciate it because that makes lots of monies when we do that, and you can't do that. So as we watch Lee's Ducks battle in the background for foul supremacy, what happened ultimately was that Data East won this whole lawsuit, surprisingly. The judge said, nah, you know, I can see where the similarities lay between your game and Street Fighter, but I would say it's not really copyright infringement. Because, and let me see if I can remember the phrase properly if I don't butcher it. I'm not French at all. Fairless use? I don't know. Or whatever. The point is, it's fair use. You can't really, the concept is you can't have copyright over an idea. Well, I can have copyright over Street Fighter and say that Street Fighter is made by my company. I cannot say that I own the idea of fighting in itself. Therefore, Capcom would not be allowed to monopolize the fighting genre as a whole because it's a genre on its own. So people like Data East were able to come out with games like this to entertain us or terrify us. Can you imagine what would have happened if this was a successful franchise? Not Street Fighter? We would have t-shirts with Ryoko and Misaguchi on them and all sorts of terrifying stuff like that. You know, I'm pretty sure, by the way, the Secret Service will be all over us for having some kind of unsanctioned street fight in front of the White House, by the way. Especially if a grown man's fighting a teenage girl in a gi. But anyways, yeah, very interesting little tidbit. And if that's all this game gets you, then, hey, whatever, you know? You learned a little bit of video game history right there if you already didn't know it. And to be honest with you, like I said, this is not a bad way to go if you're looking for a solid 2D fighting game. Prices should be quite low. Easy game to find. I found this one at a local retro game shop for a few bucks. And I do not regret the purchase. It makes me appreciate Street Fighter 2 a lot more, if anything. So, in conclusion, guys, if you see this game, don't hesitate to pick it up, especially if you're a fan of 2D fighting games. You can do a lot worse. And I will catch you on the next Churrasco Voltor review. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation, this review of Fighter's history for the Street Fighter II Entertainment System. Till next time.